Hello and welcome to Two Guns Ghost Town. This isn't really a ghost town, it's more of an abandoned attraction site that was built in 1925. It was initially used by Ed Randolph. He then sold it to the Cundiffs, Luis and Earl, in 1922. They added to it, so Ed Randolph built a store, and then they added a couple things, a pump and a restaurant. Eventually they leased it to Harry Miller. Harry then wanted to make this into a tourist attraction site, so he built the zoo. You saw back that there was a entrance that said Mountain Lion on the wall. These were all the cages. They had 2 mountain lions that eventually attacked Miller, but he survived. They also had a lynx. They had lizards, snakes, and birds, and so people could come through here and see all the animals as part of their tour. He also had a hotel built, and he had a swimming pool built, and then he also had the tour of the Apache Death Caves started. The story behind the Apache Death Caves is that in 1878, Apaches were running from the Navajo. They hid in the cave and then were burned alive in the cave by the Navajo, about 42 of them. But whether or not that story is true or not, it's hard to say. He could have just made it up as part of his tourism idea. So I'm not sure, but there is some evidence that it could be true. He also had a story behind El Diablo Canyon Ghost Town, which is across about 3 miles from the highway towards the railroad. But again, that's more of a legend, not really true. There are some foundations out there, but nothing really to show that it was a ghost town per se. It was just more of a road stop with a station and probably just a trading post or something is all. That was the gas station you just saw. There was one that burned down. This one was probably built afterward. It didn't last very long, and it was probably part of the Route 66, which used to go through here on the bridge, which you'll see here in just a minute. This was probably the store, and then there's the bridge that was built in 1915 that would go to what used to be the Route 66 before they rerouted it to where it is today. So you can see out there the gas station on the left, some of the ruins from the tourist site. This was probably the hotel, I would imagine. And you saw earlier the swimming pool is covered in graffiti. A lot of these areas are covered in graffiti, but this would have taken extensive work to build this thing. I mean, it was a lot of work, and I'm not sure if Harry did it by himself or he hired a crew, but this would have been a lot. So he'd give tours into the cave and tell people about the story. He built some rock foundations in there to make it look like it was more Native American, authentic, when it really wasn't. At some point, him and Earl got in a fight because he was leasing from Earl. He shot Earl and killed him and was acquitted a couple years later for some reason. I'm not really sure why. But we'll head off into the cave here in just a minute. This was kind of a little side cave, but they kind of just built it to make it more of a cave. You can see some of the rocks were hand built right there on the side. I'm not sure if this was a different way to get down to the cave or what it was, but it was kind of fun to kind of walk through here. Okay, so here's the entrance to the Apache Death Cave, and we'll head inside. The cave went in about 100 yards overall. It split off a couple times. There's a room on the left, and then there's about a 15-foot pathway on the right that eventually ends. I had to crawl through a little space to get there, and I'll show you that here in just a minute. And then the very back of the cave, there's 2 more split offs, but they're too skinny just to fit through. They're kind of like slot canyons in a way, but they're way too skinny. I couldn't even push through very far. I tried, but couldn't make it through. So here's the entrance to the cave, and I'll let you enjoy that. Thank you for watching.